Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read this comedic article, this hilarious article, so you don't have to. They have not given up. They will never give up. They think that they think the DNC emails are like the holy grail of corruption. They believe that evidence and information about their corruption is a national security risk. The truth about them is a tremendous, tremendous national security issue in their mind. Think about that for a second. The truth about them. So even if they were right, let's say they were right. The Mueller report showed no collusion and no obstruction. Categorically. I read the whole thing. It's a bunch of nonsense. It's a rehash and basic summary. Well, actually, no, not summary, but it's a rehash and extrapolation of the DHS and ODNI reports. They found nothing. They found absolutely nothing that James Clapper didn't already have. So Trump is right to today talk about how absurd the Mueller report was. But they did not find what they were looking for. It was a giant nothing burger. With Clinton, she did commit crimes. They covered up her crimes with Comey, Clapper, Brennan, all of them. To make everything morally relative, because that's how they have to do politics. They have to engage in politics in this manner. Everything must be morally relative. Everything. They have to be morally relative, or else the reality of Clinton is right in front of you. An overt criminal with a money laundering and racketeering and bribery scheme in the guise of a charitable foundation that transferred top secret and special access program intelligence outside of the United States government on servers running on Microsoft Exchange software as she utilized an AT&T email account when she first became Secretary of State, used a BlackBerry the NSA said she could not use, and then outsourced her emails to Platte River and Dado Inc. And then a week before the election, we found classified emails on Uma Abedin's laptop more emails outside of the United States government, in addition to Platte River and Dado, in addition to the fact she had servers at Chappaqua in her basement, in addition to the fact that she deleted 33,000 plus emails, and they wiped servers clean. We can go on forever. The Trump campaign conspired with the Russians. Mueller proved it. My God. By the standard of potential impeachment inquiry, the evidence is clear. So, notice what the New York Times does. They start with, this is obviously an opinion piece, but you see, they would never publish, CrowdStrike was outsourced by the Democrats. Why should we believe the assessment that Russia hacked the DNC if the United States never confirmed the assessment? The United States never confirmed the assessment. Okay, but obviously they're not going to write, the title's not going to be that long. But notice what they do is they double down, they continue the myth. They continue the nonsense. They don't just let it go. They don't just let it go because a Steele dossier purchased by Clinton, a third-party tech firm outsourcing an assessment of DNC servers that even the Daily Beast, Gizmodo, Vice, all of these publications are like, yeah, Trump is so stupid with his nonsensical theories about DNC servers. Doesn't he know that they got a pristine copy from CrowdStrike? How do we know that? We do not know that. You cannot just allow the Republican National Committee to hire a third-party tech firm to say, yeah, this country hacked it, and oh, by the way, we're going to impose sanctions and plunge the country into a new Cold War because the Republican Party outsourced a tech firm that said, oh, Trump strike is very credible, and we're going to use that to indict Russian intelligence officers as company one in the indictments. But anyway, let's read this. In his first letter after receiving the Mueller report, Attorney General William Barr accurately quoted it as saying, quote, the investigation did not establish that the Trump campaign, quote, conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. Okay, so that's good. There's some truth to the first paragraph. They admit, see what they do is they're like, haha, we're going to let you know there was no collusion. But really, when you look at it, there totally was. What? It's like an illusion. So, what the New York Times does, and the Washington Post and CNN and MSNBC, what they say is, Trump's economy will be horrendous. Then there's record low Black and Latino unemployment, 500,000 manufacturing jobs created, 300,000 lost under President Obama. You have a tremendously growing economy. The steel industry has been revived. GDP growth is up. Stock market's doing well. There are more people working there are more job openings than people to fill them in the United States of America. But what they do is they say, oh my goodness, he's upsetting our allies with the tariffs. Oh my goodness, Trudeau and his moving facial whatever. There, he's upset. Can you believe what we're doing to the Canadian dairy farmers? And so they'll focus on something that undermines the reality. But the opposite is also true. The Mueller report does establish that, in fact, members of the Trump campaign conspired to coordinate with the Russian government. No, it doesn't. I read the whole thing. It doesn't. It doesn't. There's not one link between Joseph Mifsud and Natalia Veselnitskaya and any other person that they claim was an asset to Russia. There's no evidence other than it is said that, or we believe, we assess this helped. There's nothing that says we have categorical evidence. There's nothing in the ODNI or DHS report or the Mueller report. I'll debate anyone. Where is the evidence in the Mueller report? Where is the evidence in the form of, this is a fact? This is a fact that we guarantee with 100% certainty. Okay, in my article, I quote Brennan when he says, I don't do evidence, I do intelligence. The intelligence chiefs are political operatives. Some of the things they do protect the country. Most of the things they do pertain to furthering political endeavors. That's it. That's it. But let's continue. How is this possible? It's the difference between the report's criminal prosecution standard of proof. Again, this is what they do. They're trying to make everything relative to Clinton. What Comey said was that there was no... Comey actually stated there were potential legal violations. This doesn't say that. This says there's no evidence of legal violations. Or it says, it tries to mimic what Comey said. Well, gosh, there's so many things here, but we just couldn't find enough to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. They're trying to say that they can't find the intent, or they can't find the smoking gun, or whatever. This is completely fabricated. With Clinton, she had the servers, she destroyed the cell phones, she deleted and destroyed emails, she had top secret and special access program intelligence on her servers. There's no debate that crimes were committed. There is no debate. The only reason that Comey didn't indict or didn't recommend indictments or whatever, he pretended he was Attorney General, was because he put intent as part of the statute, which it doesn't. There is no intent in the Espionage Act, U.S. Code 793F. Gross negligence is enough. You don't need to intentionally do what Clinton did. And now we're finding out even more classified information. Now is out there. We found out a week before that there was classified information on Uma Abedin's laptop. We're finding out from Judicial Watch all the time that Clinton committed crimes, numerous crimes with intent. And what they tried to do is make everything morally relative. Oh, Trump in a speech asked for Russian help. If it was possible for a person to yell out into a microphone, I want peace between these two countries, and then those two countries engage in, eventually have a ceasefire, then that person, wins the Nobel Peace Prize? What, are you kidding me? How is this possible? It's the difference between the report's criminal prosecution standard proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. Nobody was indicted for collusion. See, there were 30-plus people indicted. Nobody was indicted for collusion. And the ODNI and DHS reports state categorically, my Federalist articles below share it everywhere. James Clapper knew in 2016 there was no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. Nobody was indicted for actually working with Russia. So it's not beyond a reasonable doubt. They added that these are a team of people who gave $50,000+ to the Democratic Party, Clinton, and President Obama. But anyways, the difference between the report's criminal prosecution standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt and a lower standard, the preponderance standard of more likely than not, relevant for counterintelligence, what? And general parlance about facts, and closer to the proper standard for impeachment? No. More likely than not? No, it's actually far more likely than not that nothing happened with anyone in Trump's campaign because everybody was wiretapped. Every conversation was under surveillance. Every email was under surveillance. They gave over 1.4 million documents to the Mueller team. The Mueller team indicted 30-plus people with process crimes and nothing to do with any type of conspiratorial endeavors. Nobody from Manafort to Papadopoulos to Flynn, who was set up, as was Manafort. Flynn is an honorable man. He should be pardoned tomorrow. Nobody was charged with any legal statute having to do with working with a foreign operative. Nobody. The statute they're alluding to here is 18 Code 371. That's the statute they're alluding to. That's the statute they're alluding to. And it's for people who conspire to defraud the United States government. They found no evidence of that. It would have been so easy to find if every single conversation was under surveillance. For everyone he spoke to, Trump, he was caught in incidental communication. They set up and fabricated Carter Page as this suspect. They used a Steele dossier purchased by Clinton and made grandiose claims. None of them were true. It was an overt setup, and they framed Trump. And now they're all going to get indicted. Eventually. When I say Clinton's going to run again, she will. And the indictments could happen before she wins the Democratic nomination and then eventually loses to Trump. Or it could happen after the election, after she loses. She'll eventually get indicted because you cannot have one person plunge the country into a Cold War because of Facebook ads that haven't been proven to interfere at all with the election. How is this possible? Okay, there is confusion about the Mueller's fact-finding because he used the wrong coordination standard. Oh, okay. Obstruction probably obscured the evidence of crimes. No, it didn't. He didn't do anything. James Comey and Michael Cohen. Part of the obstruction is, firing Comey. That's not obstruction. He was, even Andrew McCabe under oath stated, the firing of Comey had nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do, with preventing the investigation from taking place. The investigation continued even with Comey fired. Okay, then you have Comey said this in his memos. We have no clue. Just like with CrowdStrike, the assessment there, and especially with the Steele dossier, and especially with what Mifsud and Downer said about Papadopoulos, we have no clue if anything Comey said is accurate. This is not the DNC emails that are the actual writing from the grubby little fingers of Madam Cyberhack. Or I should say Deborah Wasserman Schultz. There's nothing there that is, we have categorical proof, we have evidence in the form of servers, in the form of top secret and special access data that we found on these servers that Trump owns. That was Clinton. That was Clinton committing actual crimes. But they keep on. The report's very high standard for legal conclusion for criminal charges were explicitly proved beyond a reasonable doubt. No, they keep saying that so they would allude to, so they could kind of lure the liberal mind into thinking that, gosh, there's so much there, but they just gotta improve it in terms of legal standard. No, in terms of just basic logic. What did he do? Trump did not do anything. Trump Jr. didn't even get emails that would have been hacked had he received them. Papadopoulos never learned of the DNC emails. They never interviewed Mifsud. They never Fusion GPS, Glenn Simpson, Alexander Downer are not mentioned in the Mueller report. Do a word search for Alexander Downer, the guy who supposedly informed the U.S. intelligence community that Papadopoulos knew about the DNC hack. He's not even in the report because he wasn't interviewed. Natalia Veselnitskaya was not interviewed. Joseph Mifsud was not interviewed. These are the three central figures in the entire fantasy. They were not interviewed. This is so easy to... And then people say, well, actually, I don't think that she's going to run. Really? Really? Because she purchased 2 years of a new Cold War, which is essentially what she purchased, with the Steele dossier and outsourcing CrowdStrike. But she's going to work for Biden. Biden's there today to pave the way for Clinton. Eventually, you'll hear grumblings like Democratic donors are saying that only Clinton can raise the money. Democratic donors are saying that only Clinton can unite the party. Democratic strategists are saying that Clinton might, save this party. And then the lead up, it might be 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now. It'll be before November. So wait, it's March, May, June, July, August, September, October. She has until what, November? Late November. Super Tuesday in the Democratic primary is in March. Okay. In 2016, California and Texas, I don't think Texas was Super Tuesday. Maybe it was. But California was not. California was at the end of the 2016 primary. Why do you think they made it to the beginning? Because this way, Clinton, because she needs every single possible advantage known to man. Every single possible advantage known to man. This way, Clinton won't need Bernie's delegates or other people's delegates. You win California and Texas by March, you've already pretty much won the nomination. And then you can just coast and actually get the delegates needed to where you're not the presumptive nominee. That's why when other people accused me of saying Bernie could still win, after James Comey on July 5th stated that, we're going to cover this up, we're not going to indict Clinton, even though there is evidence of crime, not legal standard, there's pure evidence of crimes. And if a sailor went to jail for a year because of a photo that was ripped up in a garbage can, but she has 2,000 plus classified emails, top secret intelligence, special access program intelligence, and servers outside of the United States government where she's siphoning off top secret intel, literally like Aldrich Ames and Robert Hansen, if they had those servers, would have simply just used the servers to just obtain money for the classified data they eventually gave to the Soviets. We have no clue what she was doing. She literally could have engaged in treason, literally, sold the data, top secret intel, obtained money. She deleted 33,000 emails. She had servers outside of the U.S. that allegedly the NSA had no access to. President Obama lied to the American public saying, well, I learned about the servers when everyone else did, and we just found out that that's not true from Judicial Watch. So, I mean, what makes you think that she or the Democratic Party have any intention of going into 2020 to try to win? What makes you think that? This has nothing to do with winning. This has to do with another try, another attempt, because Clinton is younger than Biden, she's younger than Bernie Sanders, and she's younger than President Trump, and she's a woman. So they're not going to pontificate 2 years about how men and male candidates and all this stuff, and then they'll go with Biden. Oh, what is that, eucalyptus? 5,000? No. No. They're not going to do that. They want to set the precedent for. They want to set up impeachment. Then she writes in the Washington Post. Oh yeah, he committed serious crimes. No, he didn't. He didn't commit any crimes. She did, and then they set Trump up because of documents that she purchased. But here, the Mueller report holding itself to a higher standard, it didn't hold itself to any standard. It's a bunch of nonsense and legal theory that justifies an unlawful investigation. The investigation was started by deceiving FISA judges and utilizing opposition research that's absurd, and gossip from Joseph Mifsud and Alexander Downer regarding a conversation with Papadopoulos. And by the way, the Papadopoulos, they wanted to try for obstruction for deleting a Facebook account. Are you kidding? Clinton deleted 30-plus thousand emails and without government oversight. I mean, anyway. The Mueller report holding itself concluded that it did not find proof beyond a reasonable doubt of criminal conspiracy with Russia. No, it didn't find any proof at all. The Trump Jr. meeting is not proof of anything. Nobody in that meeting was interviewed by Mueller. Nobody. Trump Jr. was, but he wasn't indicted because he didn't commit any crimes. The meeting was a lawful. Okay. People who say, what, you want him to conspire with Russia to get Clinton's emails? Well, if Clinton's emails are out there floating around, we should probably know. So he'd be doing the country a favor. But let's say you find that the most egregious thing in human history. It's not like he purchased a dossier about Clinton regarding bodily fluids raining down upon her. No. Clinton did purchase that dossier, and it was compiled with the help of Russian intelligence, one intelligence official, and Russian sources close to the Kremlin. So she was the one who conspired with a foreign power, and actually there's a Ukraine investigation into the fact she wanted to find dirt on Manafort. So she can conspire with Ukraine, and she can conspire with Russian sources via a Steele dossier as she funnels money through her law firm. But as long as there are enough, 6 degrees, 20, 30, 50 degrees of separation, it's fine. It's like the Clinton Foundation. She doesn't get the bribe. It goes through the Clinton Foundation, and miraculously, the Uranium One deal isn't vetoed by Obama. That's bizarre. And then Bill Clinton gets $500,000 speaking arrangement. Bill Clinton meets with Vladimir Putin. Same with UBS and Boeing and weapons deals, and 85 donors who give $156 million into the Clinton Foundation, and just miraculously meet with her. And then the rebuttal is, well, she met with more people. Who cares? And then when AOC is asked emoluments, well, why don't you just do a little research on the Clinton Foundation? It's an overt money laundering and bribery scheme. But anyway, the report's core question, whether the Trump campaign conspired with the Russian government, is a difficult legal question. No, it's not. There's no evidence. They would have gotten him if there was evidence. This is ridiculous. High crimes and misdemeanors are not limited to felonies. One does not have to conclude that Mr. Trump committed a felony to vote for impeachment. I guess that's true. The key points are that the report should not be interpreted as disproving the core Russian allegations. Yes, it should be. The core Russian allegations were that he worked with Putin to undermine the election. That didn't happen. And there was no obstruction. Because the probe was unlawful, there was no predicate crime, and he didn't prevent any information from being obtained. The opposite appears true. It shows illegal coordination. No, it doesn't. How? When? The Trump Jr. meeting? Mifsud going. You have people that they say, well, people offered from the Russian government, but that had no bearing on the election, nor did President Trump have anything to do with that. Nor did the campaign have anything to do with that. The opposite appears true even with the redactions. It shows illegal coordination. No, it doesn't, because nobody was indicted or charged for that. And conspiracy by a preponderance of evidence. No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. And this evidence is relevant for further subpoenas? No, it's not. Further subpoenas, Democrats are the only political party, when proven wrong, will then say, no, we need to investigate more. It's like, no, you're proven wrong. There's zero evidence that anyone conspired. And I would love to debate anybody, but they would never want to. I would just ask them simple questions they couldn't answer, like, oh, by the way, have you read the Steele dossier? The Steele dossier was purchased by Clinton. Would you utilize a dossier purchased by Trump to begin an investigation of Clinton. Oh, well, it was a Papadopoulos conversation. Oh, that's true. Okay, so then would you also allow an investigation of Clinton based on an alleged conversation somebody had with gossip that said, oh, that one person got dirt on Trump? I mean, if the tables were turned, they would never allow it to happen. And this evidence is relevant for further subpoenas. Yeah, nice try. Nice try. Trump is not cooperating anymore. They have nothing. There's no further subpoenas, and that's it. Give me your thoughts below. The New York Times is still pushing the collusion myth, and it's hilarious and also very sad. My Patreon is below. Your support is greatly, greatly appreciated. It allows me to just speak my mind in an independent manner, write, check out my writing in the Federalist and also in the Times of Israel regarding the U.S. and Israel must recognize the Armenian genocide. That was the 104th anniversary yesterday of the Armenian genocide. And also share my writing in the Jerusalem Post, the Daily Caller below, and also the Federalist. My latest article is in the pinned comment. Thank you so very, very much. Get this segment viral. Thank you.